All right, so are you ready to go another round?
I am. Always ready for another fight night deep dive.
Okay, good. Because this episode, it doesn't pull any punches. It's called Round 4, Real Police Work.
Ooh, real police work, huh?
Yeah, and it picks up right where we left off, with the aftermath of that crazy robbery. Everyone in the city's on edge, wondering what's going to happen next.
And the title, Real Police Work. It's like they're throwing down a gauntlet, right? Like, what did that even mean in a place like Atlanta back then? 1960s, racial tensions bubbling over, a justice system that, well, let's just say it wasn't always so just.
You're telling me, and right in the thick of it is Detective Hudson,
One of Atlanta's first black detective.
trying to make his mark, prove himself. But it's like he's walking a tightrope, you know? He's got to answer to his community, but he's also got to play by the rules of a system that's not always on his side.
Talk about pressure.
Yep.
And on the other side of town, you've got Gordon. Remember him? He's in deep now.
Well,
The robbery was supposed to be his ticket to the top, but it's all starting to unravel. You can practically smell the desperation.
yeah. And the episode does a great job of showing these two guys, Hudson and Gordon, both ambitious, both driven, but on totally different sides of the law.
It's like a game of chess, right?
Totally. And we get to see both of them making their moves. You've got Hudson at the crime scene, meticulous, putting all the pieces together.
And then there's Gordon. His world is practically falling apart. And you can't forget about the women caught in the middle of all this. Vivian, Gordon's wife, she's trying to hold it together, but you can tell she's scared.
Oh, yeah, that scene with her and Faye. Intense.
Total opposites, those two. Vivian, cool as a cucumber on the outside, but you can tell she's freaking out underneath. And Faye, she's a wreck. She knows how bad things are, and she's terrified.
But here's the thing. Even with all the action, all the drama, this episode never lets you forget about the human cost of this whole thing.
It's not just about the money, right?
Yeah.
It's about the lives that get shattered, the families that get torn apart.
Exactly. And speaking of intense, there's this interrogation scene.
Oh, man, here we go.
Yeah, Hudson brings in Tommy, one of the robbers, and you can cut the tension with a knife.
Talk about a pressure cooker.
You can see Hudson wrestling with it, too. Like, he's trying to find that balance between doing things by the book and, well, you know, getting the job done.
It's like he's trying to redefine what real police work even means. Is it about forcing a confession no matter the cost? Or is it about something more human?
And man, that question, it hangs over everything. Especially because, well, things with Tommy, they take a tragic turn.
Yeah.
He takes his own life right there in the interrogation room.
It's devastating for everyone.
And it throws Hudson completely. It makes you wonder, could he have done something different, said something, anything to change the outcome?
Heavy stuff. And it makes you think, what is real police work anyway? Is there a right answer?
I don't know. This episode definitely doesn't make it easy.
Nope, not at all. But it sure makes you think. A lot. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's the million-dollar question, right? The one that kind of hangs over this whole episode. What is real police work? Does it mean getting a confession, even if it costs a man his life? Or is it something, I don't know, bigger than that?
Yeah, no easy answers there. And the episode, it doesn't let up on the emotional roller coaster. We see Hudson grappling with what happened, second-guessing himself.
Oh, absolutely. And then the focus shifts a bit. We spend some time with the women, Vivian and Faye. Talk about two sides of the same coin.
Seriously. Vivian, Gordon's wife, she's trying to keep it together, you know? Maintain some sense of normalcy when her whole world feels like it's falling apart.
And Faye. Talk about a deer in the headlights. She is terrified.
Uh,
For good reason.
Right. She's in way over her head.
And the way they play off each other. Vivian, all quiet strength, and Faye just barely holding it together. It's electric.
You can practically feel the tension radiating off of them. It's like they both know how high the stakes are, how dangerous Gordon's gotten himself into.
And that's the thing about this episode, right? It reminds you that this whole heist, it's not just some abstract crime. It has real-world consequences. People get hurt. Lives get shattered.
No doubt. And it's not just the people directly involved, the ripple effects. They reach everyone around them.
Speaking of which, remember McKinley, the guy calling the shots on this whole thing?
Oh, yeah, he and his crew are on the run, feeling the heat.
And Hudson, he is on their tail. Like a dog with a bone, especially after what went down with Tawny.
Right.
He wants justice.
You get the sense that he's carrying the weight of that interrogation room tragedy with him. It's like he's even more determined to bring these guys down now.
It becomes this really intense cat and mouse chase. And the episode just ratchets up the suspense with every scene. You're left wondering who's going to slip up first.
Seriously, you're on the edge of your seat, and as the pressure mounts, you see McKinley's true colors come out.
He gets more and more desperate. more unpredictable.
You just know it's only a matter of time before things boil over.
And then there's this whole other layer to the episode. This underlying tension that runs through every single scene.
You mean like with the racial dynamics in Atlanta at the time?
Exactly. It's 1960s South,
Mm.
you know. The civil rights movement is in full swing.
And Hudson, being one of the first black detectives in Atlanta, he's right in the middle of it all, trying to navigate this system, this city that's, well, let's just say it wasn't exactly built for him to succeed.
It's like he's carrying the weight of history on his shoulders, you know.
Yeah, the hopes of his community, but also the burden of their expectations.
And he can't afford to slip up.
Yeah.
Not for a second. Because the system, it's waiting for him to fail.
So where does that leave him? After everything that went down with Tommy, you gotta wonder, what's going through his head?
Right. Did it break him? Make him question everything? Or did it light a fire under him? Make him even more determined to fight for what's right?
It's the kind of question that sticks with you long after the credits roll.
For sure. And that's what I love about this show. It doesn't shy away from the tough questions. It makes you think.
And feel. Don't forget about that. This episode is a gut punch after gut punch.
No doubt. But it's also incredibly gripping. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time, wondering what's going to happen next, who's going to make the next move.
It's like watching a chess match. Every decision has consequences, and these characters, they're playing for keeps.
Exactly. And the stakes, they just keep getting higher.
And it's not just about catching the bad guys, is it? It's about something bigger, something deeper.
It's about survival. About finding your place in a world that doesn't always make sense.
And sometimes about questioning the very rules that define that world.
It makes you think, what would you do in their shoes?
Would you play it safe? Or would you risk it all for what you believe in?
Man, that's a tough one. No easy answers, just like in real life.
And that's what makes Fight Night such a powerful show. It holds up a mirror to our own messy, complicated world.
It reminds us that sometimes the lines between right and wrong, they're not so clear-cut.
And that the cost of fighting for what you believe in, it can be incredibly high.
But also, maybe, just maybe, it's a cost worth getting.
I need a minute to process all that. This episode was intense.
Tell me about it. I'm still trying to catch my breath.
Well, on that note, I guess we'll wrap things up here.
Until next time, Fight fans.
Keep those thinking caps on and get ready for another deep dive into the world of Fight Night, because trust me, you haven't seen anything yet.